You know that moment when you're sitting at a dinner table and you realize that the people who are supposed to love you most actually hate you? Well, I had that moment, and it changed everything. Picture this. Christmas dinner, 2023. My stepmother's pristine dining room. Crystal glasses catching the light. Expensive china plates, the kind that cost more than my monthly rent. And there I was, staring down at my plate. Dog food. Actual dog food. Not leftovers. Not scraps. Pedigree. Straight from the can. Still had that disgusting, chunky texture. The smell hit me first. That processed meat smell that makes your stomach turn. And everyone else? They had prime rib, mashed potatoes, green bean casserole. The works. But me? I got Rover's dinner. The silence in that room, it was deafening. You could hear the grandfather clock ticking. You could hear my stepbrother trying not to laugh. You could hear my father clearing his throat awkwardly, probably hoping I'd just eat it. Keep the peace. Be the good little stepdaughter. But here's the thing about being pushed to your breaking point. There's this moment, this beautiful moment, where something inside you just snaps. Not in a bad way. In a liberating way. I looked at that dog food. I looked at their smug faces. And I smiled. Because sitting right next to my stepmother's chair was Princess. Her prize-winning poodle. The dog she spent more money on than she ever spent on me. The dog that had its own diamond collar. Its own organic food budget. Its own trust fund. I picked up my fork. I scooped up a nice, big bite of that dog food. And I walked over to Princess. Here, girl, I said, my voice steady as a rock. Your mom thinks this is good enough for people, so you must love it, right? Princess, bless her heart, she gobbled it right up. Tail wagging. Happy as could be. Then I turned to my stepmother. Her face had gone completely white. Her mouth was hanging open like she'd just watched me commit murder. And I said the words that would change everything. She likes it more than I do. That's when all hell broke loose. Let me back up, because you need to understand how I got to that moment. How someone ends up eating dog food at their own family's dinner table. My name is Sarah. I'm 26 years old. And I've been living in this toxic, twisted family dynamic for almost 15 years. It started when I was 12. My mom died in a car accident. Drunk driver. One day I had a mother who braided my hair and made me pancakes. The next day I had nothing. Just me and my dad, trying to figure out how to survive. Dad remarried, way too fast. Like, 8 months fast. Enter Patricia. Or as she insisted I call her. Mother Patricia. Never just Patricia. Always. Mother Patricia. Like she was running some kind of religious cult. Patricia came with money. Old money. The kind of money that comes with expectations. Standards. Rules about which fork to use, which charity events to attend, which people were worthy of your time. And I was not worthy. See, Patricia had 2 kids from her first marriage. Brandon and Melissa. Both perfect. Both blonde. Both everything I wasn't. Brandon was a year older than me, quarterback of the football team, destined for Harvard. Melissa was 2 years younger, beauty pageant winner, already had modeling contracts. Then there was me. Brown hair that wouldn't curl right. Braces. Hand-me-down clothes from Goodwill. I was the reminder that their perfect family wasn't so perfect. The differences started small. Patricia would cook dinner, but somehow there was never quite enough for 4 people. Oh, Sarah, she'd say, her voice dripping with fake concern, I guess you'll have to make yourself a sandwich. Growing girls need to learn independence. While Brandon and Melissa got new clothes for school, I got lectures about fiscal responsibility. Money doesn't grow on trees, Sarah. Your father works very hard. We can't just spend frivolously. But Patricia's poodle? Princess got a new diamond collar every month. The worst part, the absolute worst part, was watching my father disappear. Day by day, month by month. The man who used to read me bedtime stories, who used to take me fishing on weekends, he just faded away. Patricia had this way of making him feel guilty about everything. About me. About spending time with me. About loving me. I remember one specific night. I was 14. I'd made honor roll, straight A's for the third semester in a row. I was so excited to tell him. I ran downstairs and found him and Patricia in the living room. Dad, I said, waving my report card. Look, all A's again. He started to smile, started to get up from his chair. And Patricia, she put her hand on his arm. Gentle, controlling. Richard, she said softly, didn't you promise Brandon you'd help him with his college applications tonight? His future is so important. My dad looked at me, then at her, then back at me, and I watched him choose. That's great, honey, he said, not even looking at the report card. We'll celebrate later. But later never came. That's how it went, for years. Every achievement I had, every milestone, every moment I needed a parent. Patricia found a way to redirect his attention, to make me invisible. Let me know in the comments where you are watching this video from. I'd love to know. The psychological games got worse as I got older. Senior year of high school. I got accepted to State University. Full academic scholarship. I was so proud. I thought, finally they'd see that I was worth something. Patricia's response? Oh, Sarah. State University? How practical. I'm sure you'll do fine in whatever career state school graduates pursue. Meanwhile, Brandon got into Harvard. And suddenly, every conversation, every dinner, every family gathering was about Harvard. Harvard this. Harvard that. My scholarship, my achievement, it was like it never happened. But I survived. I graduated. I got my degree in social work. I found a job helping kids in foster care. Kids who reminded me a lot of myself. Invisible kids. Forgotten kids. And I thought, maybe now, maybe as an adult, things would be different. I was so incredibly wrong. So here I am, 26 years old, living in a tiny studio apartment, working 60 hours a week, helping kids who've been thrown away by the system. And Patricia? She decides it's time for family bonding. She calls me on a Tuesday morning, 7 a.m. I'm getting ready for work, rushing around, trying to find matching socks. Sarah, her voice comes through the phone like ice water. We're having our annual Christmas dinner this year. December 23rd, 6 p.m. sharp. No, I hadn't been invited to anything family-related in 3 years. Not Thanksgiving. Not birthdays. Not even Easter brunch. So this was suspicious. Oh, I said, caught off guard. That's great. Should I bring anything? A side dish or... No need, she cut me off. I have everything handled. Just dress appropriately. We're having important guests. Important guests. Code for rich people who couldn't know that Patricia's perfect family had a black sheep. I should have said no. I should have hung up. I should have planned a nice, quiet evening with Netflix and takeout Chinese. But there was this stupid, hopeful part of me. This part that still believed, maybe, just maybe, they wanted me there because they missed me. God, I was naive. December 23rd arrives. I spent my entire paycheck on a new dress. Navy blue. Conservative. The kind of dress Patricia would approve of. I even got my hair done. Curled. Professional. I looked decent. Respectable. I show up at 6 p.m. exactly. Patricia always hated when people were late. The house was magnificent. String lights everywhere. A 12-foot Christmas tree. The smell of expensive perfume and roasted meat. I ring the doorbell. Brandon answers. He's gotten taller, broader, more entitled looking, if that's possible. Designer suit. Rolex watch. That Harvard smugness, practically radiating from his pores. Oh, he says, like he forgot I was coming. Sarah. You're here. Patricia invited me, I say, suddenly feeling defensive. Like I needed permission to exist. Right. Right, of course. He steps aside. Come in. But, fair warning. Mom's been stressed about tonight. Maybe just keep things light. Keep things light. Translation. Don't remind everyone that you exist. I walk into the living room, and it's like stepping into a magazine. Everything perfect. Everything expensive. Melissa's there. She's gotten even more beautiful, if that's possible. Blonde hair in perfect waves. Dress that probably costs more than my car. Sarah, she squeals, but it's that fake, pageant squeal. All teeth and no warmth. Oh my gosh, you look so nice. Nice. Not beautiful. Not great. Nice. Like I was a child who tried really hard. My father's in his chair, the same chair he's always sat in. But he looks smaller somehow. Grayer. Like Patricia has been slowly draining the life out of him. Hi, Dad, I say softly. He looks up, and for just a second, just a split second, I see the man who used to read me stories, who used to call me his little princess. Sarah, sweetheart. He starts to get up, to hug me. And that's when Patricia appears. She glides into the room like some kind of ice queen, wearing a dress that probably cost more than my monthly salary. Pearls. Real pearls. Hair pulled back in this perfect, untouchable way. Sarah, she says, and there's something in her voice. Something cold. Calculating. How wonderful that you could join us. But her eyes are saying something else entirely. They're saying, you don't belong here. The important guests arrive, one by one. The Hendersons from the country club. The Clarks, who own half the commercial real estate in town. The Whitneys, old money, older than Patricia's family. And with each introduction, I feel myself shrinking, getting smaller, more invisible. This is Richard's daughter. Sarah, Patricia says each time. Never. This is my stepdaughter. Never. This is part of our family. Always. Richard's daughter. Like I was his mistake. His burden. Dinner gets served, and oh my God, it's a feast. Prime rib that probably cost $200. Lobster tail. Truffle mashed potatoes. Wine that I can't even pronounce the name of. Everyone sits down. There's this beautiful table setting, place cards written in calligraphy, real silverware that probably belonged to someone's great-great-grandmother. I look for my place card. I walk around the table once, twice, 3 times. Patricia, I say quietly, I don't see. Oh, she says, loud enough for everyone to hear. Sarah, I'm so sorry. With all the proper guests, we ran out of room at the main table. Proper guests. She actually said, proper guests. There's a lovely spot for you in the breakfast nook. I've prepared something special. She leads me through the kitchen, past the formal dining room where everyone else is sitting, to this tiny, cramped table, where families usually eat cereal in the morning. And there, on the table, is a plate with dog food. Before I tell you what I did next, if you're enjoying the story, please subscribe. Help us reach 1,000 subscribers. I stare at that plate for what feels like forever. The sounds from the dining room, laughter, clinking glasses, conversations about vacation homes and stock portfolios, it all fades away. And in that moment, something inside me, something that had been building for 14 years, finally snapped. I pick up that plate. The dog food, it's cold now. Congealed. Sitting there like some kind of sick joke. But I'm not laughing. I'm not crying either. I'm calculating. See, here's what Patricia didn't know. What none of them knew. Those 60 hours a week I've been working, helping kids in foster care, you learn things. You learn how to document abuse. You learn how to build a case. You learn how to fight back. And for the past 6 months, I've been building something. I walk back into that dining room, carrying my plate. Everyone's mid-conversation. Mrs. Henderson is talking about her new yacht. Mr. Clark is bragging about his son's internship at Goldman Sachs. The laughter dies the second they see me. Patricia, I say, my voice steady. Calm. I wanted to thank you for this beautiful meal. She freezes. Fork halfway to her mouth. Eyes wide. Like she knows something's coming. Sarah, she says carefully, why don't you just go eat in the... Oh, I will, I interrupt. But first, I wanted to share something with your lovely guests. I set the plate down, right in the center of their pristine table, right on top of the expensive tablecloth. The dog food, it makes this wet, sloppy sound. Mrs. Henderson gasps. Actually gasps. This, I say, loud enough for everyone to hear, is what Patricia served me for Christmas dinner. While you're all eating prime rib and lobster, she thought dog food was appropriate for Richard's daughter. The silence is deafening. My father, he's gone completely pale. His hands are shaking slightly. Sarah, what are you? Dad, I say, and my voice cracks just a little. When's the last time you stood up for me? When's the last time you chose me over her? Patricia stands up so fast, her chair almost falls over. How dare you, she hisses. How dare you come into my home and embarrass me like this? Your home? I laugh. It's not a nice laugh. Your home? Dad, who's paying the mortgage on this house? My father looks confused. Lost. I mean, we both. Actually, I say, pulling out my phone, that's not true. Is it, Patricia? Her face, oh my God, her face goes from red with anger to white as paper. In like 2 seconds. I don't know what you think you're. 3 months ago, I continue, I hired a private investigator. Did you know that? Dad? Did you know that your loving wife has been systematically stealing from your accounts? The room explodes. Not literally, but the energy. It's like someone dropped a bomb. Everyone starts talking at once. That's impossible, my father says, but his voice, it's weak. Like he's already starting to put the pieces together. I swipe through my phone, pull up the documents my investigator sent me. Bank statements, transfer records, real estate documents. The house. Dad? The one you think you both own? Patricia transferred it into her name only 2 years ago. While you were at that medical conference, remember? She said she was handling some paperwork. Patricia tries to grab my phone. This is ridiculous. Richard, don't listen to. The vacation home in Aspen? I keep going. Also, just her name. The investment accounts? The ones you thought were building your retirement? She's been slowly transferring everything into accounts that only she controls. My father stands up. His face, it's like watching someone wake up from a coma. Patricia, is this true? She looks around the room, at all her important guests, at Mrs. Henderson who's filming everything on her phone, at Mr. Clark who's slowly backing toward the door, at the Whitneys who look like they've just witnessed a murder. Richard, she says, her voice high and desperate, you can't believe. She's obviously mentally unstable. She's trying to. $16 million, I say. That's how much she's moved out of your joint accounts in the past 5 years. The number, it hangs in the air like a guillotine. Brandon and Melissa, they're just staring. Like they can't process what's happening. Like their perfect, golden world is crumbling in real time. And the best part? I'm on a roll now. 14 years of silence, and now I can't stop talking. The college funds she said she set up for Brandon and Melissa, they never existed. Every penny for Harvard, for Melissa's pageant coaching, that came out of Dad's accounts. Accounts he built before he ever met you. Patricia, she's backing toward the wall now, like a cornered animal. You little. She starts to lunge toward me. And that's when I play my final card. Oh, I say, stepping out of her reach, and Princess? Your precious, prize-winning poodle? The one with the diamond collar and the trust fund. I look down at Princess, who's sitting right there, tail wagging, completely oblivious to the chaos. She's not actually yours either. The room goes dead silent. What? Patricia whispers. The breeder called me back yesterday. Seems like you've been claiming ownership of a dog that's still technically registered to your ex-husband, who, by the way, has been looking for her for 3 years. I reach into my purse, pull out a dog treat. Princess comes running, tail going crazy. So really, I say, scratching behind Princess's ears, the only honest thing you did tonight was serve me dog food. At least you're feeding the right species. The aftermath was beautiful. Not immediately. Immediately, it was chaos. Mrs. Henderson posting that video on social media before she even left the house. Mr. Clark calling his lawyer because apparently he'd been planning to invest money with Patricia's investment firm. The Whitneys just disappearing into the night like vampires fleeing sunlight. But my father just sat there in his chair, staring at Patricia like he was seeing her for the first time. 16 million, he kept saying. 16 million. Patricia tried everything. Tears. Screaming. Threats. She even tried to physically attack me right there in front of everyone. Brandon had to hold her back, which was awkward considering he was starting to realize his Harvard tuition might not be as secure as he thought. I left that night with Princess. Yeah, I took the dog, called her real owner, reunited them the next morning. Turned out, he'd been heartbroken for 3 years. Patricia had claimed the dog ran away, but really, she'd just stolen her. Like she stole everything else. The legal letters started arriving within days. My father's lawyer, divorce papers, asset recovery demands, criminal charges for fraud and embezzlement. Patricia's lawyer trying to claim she was just managing the family finances. That everything she did was with my father's implied consent. That I was a vindictive stepdaughter trying to destroy a loving family. But here's the thing about documentation, about evidence, about 14 years of careful record keeping. Remember that private investigator? He'd been very thorough. Bank records showing systematic transfers, always when my father was out of town. Real estate transfers with forged signatures. Investment accounts opened in Patricia's name only, funded with my father's inheritance from his parents. The more we dug, the worse it got. Turns out, Patricia had done this before. Her first husband, the father of Brandon and Melissa, he died mysteriously in a boating accident. And somehow all his assets had ended up in Patricia's name. Insurance payouts, investment portfolios, everything. The police, they started looking into that too. But the best part, the absolute best part, was watching the dominoes fall. Brandon, he had to drop out of Harvard. Second semester. Senior year. Because suddenly, there was no money, no trust fund, no golden parachute. Turns out, when you spend 4 years coasting on someone else's hard work, you don't actually learn any skills. He moved back home to live with Patricia in the apartment she had to rent after my father kicked her out. Last I heard, he was working at a car dealership, selling used Hondas. The irony is delicious. Melissa, she lost her modeling contracts. Apparently, the agencies don't love being associated with fraud scandals. Plus, without Patricia's money, she couldn't afford the personal trainers, the nutrition coaches, the professional photographers. Turns out, natural beauty only gets you so far when you have the personality of wet cardboard. She's working at a makeup counter now. At Macy's. Patricia posts pictures of her on Facebook sometimes, always with these desperate captions about how proud she is of her daughters. Entrepreneurial spirit. But Patricia herself, that's where karma really delivered. The criminal charges stuck. Fraud, embezzlement, identity theft, forgery. The judge was not amused by her tearful testimony about being a devoted wife and mother. 18 months. Federal prison. No early release. No minimum security country club prison. Real prison. With real consequences. My father, he visits her sometimes. I don't understand it, but 30 years of psychological manipulation that doesn't just disappear overnight. He's in therapy now, working through what he calls the fog. But here's what really changed everything. The money, the 16 million, most of it was recovered. And my father, my dad, he did something I never expected. He split it. Half for him, half for me. I owe you, he said, the day the transfers went through, more than money. But this is a start. $8 million. From dog food to $8 million in 6 months. I quit my job at social services. Well, not quit exactly. I started my own nonprofit, helping kids like I used to be. Kids in toxic family situations. Kids who need someone to believe them when they say something's wrong. I bought a house. Nothing fancy. Nothing Patricia would approve of. But it's mine. Really mine. And it has a big backyard for the 3 rescue dogs I've adopted. I also hired a very expensive lawyer to make sure Patricia can never come near me or my father again. Restraining orders. Cease and desist letters. The works. But the best part, the part that makes me smile every morning when I wake up. I got a text last week from Brandon. Sarah, it said, I know I don't deserve anything from you, but I wanted to say, I'm sorry for everything, for not standing up for you, for pretending you didn't exist, for being part of what she did to you. I stared at that text for a long time. Part of me wanted to delete it, pretend I never saw it, keep that protective anger that had gotten me through so many years. But then I remembered something my therapist said. Forgiveness, she told me, isn't about them. It's about you. It's about not carrying their poison anymore. So I texted back. Thank you, I wrote. That means more than you know. And then I did something that would have shocked the broken girl eating dog food 6 months ago. I invited him for coffee, not to rebuild some fairy tale relationship, not to pretend the past didn't happen, but to start over as adults, as people who survived the same toxic environment and maybe, just maybe, can help each other heal from it. We met Last Tuesday, at a little cafe downtown. He looked different, smaller, humbler, like life had finally taught him some lessons. I never knew, he said, stirring his coffee with shaking hands, how bad it was. For you. I thought Mom just didn't like you. I didn't realize she was actively trying to destroy you. She destroyed all of us, I told him. Just in different ways. We talked for 3 hours. About everything. About the family dinners where I was invisible. About the Christmas mornings where my presents were always clearly afterthoughts. About how he and Melissa had been trained to see me as less than. I want to make it right, he said, before we left. I don't know how, but I want to try. And you know what? For the first time in maybe ever, I believed him. So here's what I learned from feeding dog food to a poodle and watching a family empire crumble. Sometimes, the people who are supposed to protect you are the ones you need protection from. Sometimes, being the black sheep isn't a punishment. It's a gift. Because when you're already on the outside, you can see things clearly. You can see the lies, the manipulation, the carefully constructed illusions. And sometimes, just sometimes, standing up for yourself doesn't just change your life. It changes everyone's life. My father, he's a different person now. Still healing. Still working through decades of psychological abuse. But he calls me every Sunday. We have lunch every month. Real lunch. Not dog food. Not scraps. Real father-daughter time. I'm proud of you, he told me last week, for being braver than I ever was. Patricia, she gets out in 8 more months. I'm not afraid of her anymore. You can't be afraid of someone when you've seen them completely powerless. When you've watched them lose everything because of their own greed and cruelty. But more than that, I'm not that scared little girl anymore. The one who believed she deserved dog food. Who believed she was less than. Who believed she had to accept whatever scraps people threw her way. I know my worth now. And it's not measured in designer clothes or trust funds or someone else's approval. It's measured in the kids I help who remind me of myself. It's measured in the relationships I choose to build and maintain. It's measured in the boundaries I set and the respect I demand. People ask me all the time if I regret it. If I regret destroying the family. If I regret sending Patricia to prison. If I regret taking down the whole house of cards. And honestly, the only thing I regret is waiting so long to do it. If you're watching this and you're in a toxic situation, whether it's family or friends or a relationship, listen to me. You deserve better. You deserve to be treated with basic human dignity. You deserve a seat at the table, not scraps under it. And if they won't give you that respect, if they won't see your worth, sometimes you have to burn it all down and build something new, something better, something where you're not the outsider, where you're not the problem, where you're valued. I have that now. Finally, at 26 years old, I have a family. Maybe not the one I was born into, but the one I chose. My dogs, my friends, my father slowly finding his way back to being a real parent. Even Brandon, tentatively, carefully, trying to be a real brother. It's not perfect. It's not a fairy tale. But it's real. And it's mine. And nobody can ever again make me feel like I deserve dog food. If you liked this story and you want to hear more about standing up to toxic people, check out this other one on the screen. It's about a woman who discovered her mother-in-law was poisoning her and how she got the most incredible revenge. Trust me, you'll want to hear how that one ends. See you there.